So just that you can see the differences. For this sample, so we have the PowerPoints, we have some really cool pictures, take a look at different types. You're just gonna do one back section, okay? That way you have an idea of how to do it. And this one will be so that you know how to do it for if you want to do lace. Okay, you don't have to lace. So mine has a zipper in it. You can do hook and eyes, you know, just, but you guys have had enough experience with zippers at this point, right? So might as well let's try something new. That is the grommet press, the blue. Okay, it has the right die set in it. And these are the dies. Please try to keep them back in here so we don't lose them. Okay. So then in here, I have two sets, because I know like one person will start to use one and then you know. So there's two sets of the patterns with the markings on them. Okay. So you'll be cutting one out of your, whatever your shell fabric is, one out of the canvas. Okay, so two pieces. Okay. So obviously this is a normal corset, right? With straps, strapless, claspy, right? I like this one because it shows lacing up on the side. It's kind of cool. So basic materials that you're gonna need for this, we have the canvas, right, that you guys got. You can also use duck. So if you're looking for something, twills can be used, like denims work really well. And then coutil is the actual true corseting fabric. So if you were making traditional corsets, you would buy a coutil. Okay, that's what it's called. And a coutil actually is a type of a twill weave. But you can buy it as like, they will make it as like a brocade, and you can get some really pretty, so like for people who like get into corsets and stuff, you can buy like really pretty coutils. All right, so you're only gonna need like less than a quarter of an inch scrap fabrics, right? As long as you got your, everyone got canvas, I hope. The lining is optional, just so that way if you wanted to practice, you could cut out another one, all right? And so the grommets are in here, and then you need your bones, okay? You do wanna make sure you mark your notches. They will come in handy so that you put them together. I decided to one time make a corset. I didn't mark my notches. I got cocky. Couldn't figure out for 2 years why it didn't fit right. And it's because when I sewed them together, instead of them going like this, I did like this. Okay? So notches are very important. So it didn't fit right. I couldn't figure it out for the longest time, and then I realized, you know how much time and money goes into this? To have it not fit. Yeah, so notches are important. And then the center front one is marked here, because this is gonna be another place where you're gonna put another thing of boning. Okay, so I put the notches as in here. Okay. So those are there. All right, there's already seam allowances, 1/2 inch on these two. So I have the instructions, so I'm just gonna walk you guys through it, but I did have to find some more little inspirational pictures so you can see the different types of corsets. So some you can see the boning, some have a cup, you know. This one has bias around the edge, this one doesn't, you know what I mean, just different things. These are fun, so these are strapless. So this is hook and eyes side, and then this one has a draped front. And so it's kind of like a cowlie front, but you can still kind of see the corset underneath it, so. It's kind of fun to do the corsets. And then these were kind of fun because you can think about different ways. I mean, any place there's a seam, you can put lacing, you know. Different look, this one's here. And then these are popular right now, right? The belts. Okay, that kind of look. Although I don't think you guys need inspiration, but sometimes it's just kind of fun to look at pictures. All right, so those are in here. These are just some of the instructions that I copied from the book. okay, that are in here too for us. And we have to try to remember, what did she say? You will need a zipper foot when putting in a lot of this. We kind of talk about it. I think I cut out more than I need. Okay, center back. Center back. Outside. It's the other one. Oh, I didn't cut out.
Sorry.
Are you videoing me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm like, what am I doing? All right, so we have, I'm using muslin as my shell fabric. My duck, I went ahead and just labeled, okay? So once again, you can see how easy, and it's just so easy to do. The seams all match, it's just thin, so don't forget. Okay, so we're just going to put our side seams together. A half inch seam allowance. Sure these are. Oh, that's it. Did we run out of bottle? Oh no. I'm like, of course we normally do that for a video. Break needles.
It was really sick.
I'll come back to that. Yeah, let's just see the thread. Just thread it. So then you definitely want to press open your seams, okay, because that's going to be one of the areas that you're going to be, it's just, you're going to be pressing it open. So we're not going to put the boning on this piece, so we're just going to leave that over there. We are going to put boning. Oh, I guess that happened here. Okay, let's do this again. So once you do that, so you know what we're going to have in it. We're going to put boning on this seam, okay? So you normally always put boning on all your seams, okay? You also always want to put boning wherever your closure is, okay? So if you're doing grommets like this one, you're going to put one right at the center back, and then you're going to put one on the other channel, on the other side of the grommet, so that you have two, and it just helps when the lacing speed. So we're just going to measure. Snip. Snip.
I actually really liked the movie, but there's this one scene where my image of him is forever changed.
Which movie? Yes, take your okay, so you guys take your boning out of your facings. Okay? Now, how many of you guys have ever worn prom dresses or anything else like that, and then when you sit, they poke? And have you ever had the boning poke out of the bottom? Okay, it's because they didn't trim these enough. Okay, so you definitely want to trim a 1/2 inch off. You know, if it's, you can do a 1/2 inch on either side, or you can just do an inch. Because you want this sitting within the seam allowance. And so if it looks like it's going to be poking into those seam allowance areas, just take a little bit more off. Okay? Because as we all know, is when you're sitting and moving or whatever, especially when you're sitting, it's kind of compressing, and those kind of move on you. Let's see, is that the one I just did? That's the one I just did. Now these are curved, and so that's another thing that you'll have to make sure you're working with, because you'll automatically want to put them in a certain way, and then you don't want them going like this on your body, right? So you kind of have to think about which way to put them in. You want them to curve with your body. They will loosen up with your body heat, but not enough if you do it this way. Okay, so make sure when we put them back in. So there are 2 ways you can do this. You can actually tuck this under and sew it, but I don't really care for it as much because it gets kind of bulky. And so I just like to just sit it in the center of the seam, and I'm just going to stitch along the side. Now you'll see that there's stitching already in your casing. You do not want to sew over that, okay? Otherwise your boning's not going to go back in. Okay, so try to sew on that seam or closer to the edge. Is that going to make sense? Otherwise you're trying to figure out how to shove the boning in there, and it doesn't want to go. So that's why you need you definitely need a zipper foot. Then as you're going, what you can do is you can slightly flip up to see if you're still